Hey, how's it going, glitches? About a year ago, I think I made a LioranBoard how to install and type video. I don't know how to pop that out. Anyways, it kind of looks something a little bit like this. And since then, the LioranBoard has gone through some major updates, and it's just amazing. And so, if you've seen it, great. I think it's still applicable. If you already have LioranBoard, I think it's still applicable. But I have been getting a couple of questions on basically how to install it and get your WebSocket and everything fired up. So I figured, you know what, it's due time. I might as well make another LioranBoard installation video because it's been upgraded and there's a lot of new functionality on it. We won't cover a lot of that stuff today, but I just want to get some people started who haven't been started yet on it. So without anything else further ado, let's go straight over and get you all set up with the installation of LioranBoard. All right, so we've got my gaming PC up over here. I actually don't have LioranBoard installed on here because I use it on my streaming PC. So I thought this would be a good spot to be for an example to show you how to download and install LioranBoard. So the first thing you want to do is get in here, and I would update my WebSocket, my OBS WebSocket. I think it's out of date on this one as well. I think I used to use, if I recall, I think I used to use my Elgato on here. So I think I got an old WebSocket. So you're just going to hit go to download. You can use the zip on here. I believe they have it in a zip. But the easiest one is, for me, is going to be the installer exe. They also have a Mac option and all that other such, but for me, it's going to be Windows 491 installer exe. That's downloading in the bottom right behind my camera, so you can't really see it, but I'm going to click it and pop it open. And it went black here on your side because it was asking for admin administrator permissions. I'm going to go ahead and hit next, next, next. I'm going to have to pause the video here because it needs to close OBS Studio in order for my this actual install to go. But because I'm recording on this version of OBS, it's going to mess up the video. So I'm going to pause it and be right back. All right, so that didn't take too long on there. I did restart my computer because it made the most sense to do so. And then I'm going to go ahead and go into the LioranBoard install. A couple things come with this. You can read through it. Current version right now of the day of the recording is 1.4.4, which I actually haven't used yet. I think I'm down a couple versions. And there's actually been some pretty cool updates as well for it. So I'm just going to click on download on there. Looks like the download link is the first one over here. There's a couple mirror links. And this one comes in a zip. So it is thinking. It's right behind my camera. Basically, we're going to unzip it and pop it in someplace in our files. So let me actually find a spot for it. And go underneath my H drive, I think, for my case. And I'm just going to create a new folder that says LBoard or something. Okay, and it's almost done installing. It's downloading. It's thinking on the side. It's right behind my camera down here. So looks like about 34 megs, so not too bad on there. I don't have WinZip on here. I'm just going to use the demo version. And basically, I'm going to take this whole guy over here, and we're going to extract all the files to just that folder that I just made on my H drive, which is LioranBoard. Extract it here. Extract. All right, we can minimize that. And so now we have all of our files here for LioranBoard just opened up after we extracted. So let's go through a couple of things on here. We have an extension folder, which we can, there's a couple default extensions on here, and there's a README on how to install the extensions. Some of the default extensions that come with it are the follower alerts, get sub counts, Twitch statuses. So you may or may not need these installed. I think the one that's the most important, if you grab them out of here, is probably the follow alert because it defaulted. There's no triggers for new follows, so that would be one that I'd be kind of interested in installing. That'd be one of them on there, but so he does have a couple of extras that come along with it. You can always download more extensions. There's quite a few out there as well. The LioranBoard notification system, so he has like a little sound drop notification system that comes with it, and there's a little README on how to install that. I'm not going to go through that right now, just go through the README and install it if you want. So basically you can get your own like alert system basically. The LioranBoard receiver, which is the main spot. Android Stream Deck and the PC Stream Deck. So you can get this guy, it's free and installed on your Android phones. So you can actually use your Android phone as a Stream Deck as well. In order to do that, you're going to go down here, grab this 1.4 or whatever version it's going to be. It's an APK file. And you're going to actually have to take your phone, put your cord into it, drop it into USB mode, put that file on your phone. Some Androids might block the file because it doesn't recognize it. And if that's the case, you can use like a file manager or something like that. I'll link one down in the video as well. And you basically just need to run this file and it will do its installation on the phone side of things. And then basically when you go into the PC deck or the Stream Deck itself, it's the same type of setup for it as well. So pretty simple on there. That's how you would install it on your phone. Otherwise, you could use this Stream Deck PC, which I have a couple of PCs and a couple of monitors, so this works a lot of sense for me when I stream. If you don't have that option, you can always do it on the Android phone, or you could do both, because it could technically take in inputs for both sides of it. Alright, so one of the things you need to do on this guy is open up the TSL Transmitter. And I just have that open in a page as we're running. And it has some really cool things on here. You can actually test different things like your raids, your status, your followers, and all these things. So these are all the extensions that are also kind of like in. So if you install extra extensions, they'll show up here as other tabs. And so then you know that they're installed. This TLC transmitter needs to be open as we are trying to connect and run LioranBoard. And it will show you whether or not you're connected to the various things that you should be connected to. So it can hear alerts, things like new subs, or channel point redemptions and stuff like that, and then feed that information to OBS through the WebSocket. All right, let's go back into the file path here where LioranBoard is actually at. We're going to go into the receiver and we're going to set up the rest of the receiver. I think it is important to note too that if you have your OBS restarted and things like that, let's make sure WebSocket is installed. So if you go up into tools, you should see WebSocket server settings. I wouldn't change this port over here because that is defaulted as well on the LioranBoard receiver. If you do use a password, that's where you would want to put it. I'm actually going to, you could check it, enable authorization or uncheck it. I'm actually going to take my password off for the purposes of this, but if you want to pop in a password, that's where you would do it. And just remember what that password is for LioranBoard receiver when we set up the connection. So I'm just going to leave it blank for now for this video so you can see how to connect. So let's go into the LioranBoard receiver itself. We're going to open this guy up. It might need permissions, maybe, give or take. So it says, welcome to LioranBoard. Would you like to go through the tutorial? Now it wants permissions to use it as my network. My Windows Defender is like, what is this? I'm going to allow access so I can get access to the internet and things. You go through the tutorial if you're brand new to this. There's some really cool things, including some example decks as well. I'm just going to hit no for my purpose because I'm kind of familiar with it. The listing port, that is the port that LioranBoard receiver uses. Keep it default is my recommendation. If you change it, you're going to need to know what that is. So when you go into the Stream Deck and other things, or your Stream Deck on your phone, you know what it is as well. That OBS WebSocket port, that's what we were just talking about a second ago. I'm keeping it default at 4444. Here's where you would put in your password. If you did assign a password, I like to keep the things auto-connected to Twitch and OBS. Non-blocking connection, I'll be honest, I don't know what that is. But you know what? I'll just leave it unchecked for now. I think it would work just fine as well. Let's hit accept. And it's because it's this first time connecting for us, it won't automatically turn to gray here. But if we connect to OBS, this should. It's attempting to connect to the WebSocket right now. It's giving a little bit of a delay. Keep our fingers crossed I can do this all in one take. It's taking a little bit more time now. It's at 12 seconds. Here's some of this example decks as well that are in here. Let's link to Twitch while we're here. So it's going to open up this URL. Here's all the permissions that you might want to let it do. I would recommend checking all these ones. Even if you don't necessarily want to use some of these extension tools right now, in the future, things that you can let LioranBoard do as well as things like read hypertrain. It can read whether or not a hypertrain is coming in, and you can basically use commands and setups when that happens. And so all these types of things are different things it can do, but it needs to be actively listening for it as well. So let's open up that URL. It's going to want me to authorize it through Twitch. All the things that it's going to ask me to authorize for it, I'm going to go ahead and authorize. It says we're all good now, which is great. And it should go back to the transmitter, and you can see we got greens all the way across. Hopefully we connected to OBS itself as well. So let's go back into LioranBoard itself and see if we've got ourselves connected. So it doesn't look like we're connected to OBS. Sometimes I've had to restart OBS as well, so that might be the case here. So let's go ahead and close LioranBoard. Sometimes closing it and reopening it does it. And it's just because it's got all these new connections and stuff. So I don't know if that's the case. We'll see if we get lucky on this one. It's connected to Twitch, which is a good thing on there, but we need to connect to OBS WebSocket. Maybe. Oh, I didn't have enable WebSocket server checked. Check that guy. Let's see if that did it. There it goes. Hey, troubleshooting live. How about that? All right, so now we're connected to OBS and Twitch, and so we can pretty much use all the functions that we would want in here. Some great examples of decks are going to be in here as well, including some example sounds, how to drag and drop. Like, these are all functions, and if you need to figure out how they work, you can actually right-click on them and check the command list. He doesn't have that. Was a sound one, I think. So, you know, there's different things you can do. Here's a scene switch example. Right-click, hit edit commands. You can see it's just a scene switch. So let's do some very basic text stuff in OBS and see how it works. So I'm going to go into OBS. Again, I don't have any assets on this computer. It's all on my other computer. So many fun things I really can't do. But I'm just going to go down here on the bottom. I'll hit plus. We'll do a new text source, and I'll call this like test. And let's just go ahead and make a big old test. And now that's guys right there in the middle of the screen. And so if we go into LioranBoard and let's make a new deck, and we're going to make a new button by right-clicking, create new button. You can change the text on it if you want. You can change the color if you want. You can have it as a toggle button. A lot of things you can do. Underneath add commands, you basically would populate your command list in a set here. So what you could do is hit plus. And here on the black side where it says scene switched as a default, you have all the list of commands. If you need to reference what these commands do, there is a README file that comes along with LioranBoard receiver that lets you kind of know how it works in things like that. My top 3 commands that I use are source filter change visibility, source change visibility, and then scene switch. Those are probably the 3 main ones you're going to probably use. So you can turn things off and on, or use scene switches, or change filter sources as well. You can even change, you know, text. You can make things move in here. You can make stackable commands, play media. There's a million things you can do with this. And it's really, really simple to use once you kind of get in there and play with it. But let's just do a basic source change visibility. It's going to be asking right now for my scene name. I called it, I guess it's called scene 2. The item that I want to manipulate is that test manipulate, and we can just hit that as a toggle for now. True would turn the asset on, false would turn an asset off, toggle will basically toggle in between the two. And then this delay over here is if you need things set up in any sort of delayed fashion is in milliseconds. So you can have things in like a string command. You can actually add multiples down here and have things turn themselves off and on at specific times, and then maybe do a scene switch at the end. There's so many things you can do with it. That's one reason why I've been making so many great videos on this as well. So let's go ahead and hit done. You can also add triggers to this. So like if I right click on here and I go to Twitch triggers, for example, and I hit plus, I can do things like, you know, this is triggered by a bit amount or a sub coming in, or this point redeem, that's channel point redemptions for Twitch. If I have a host come in or a raid come in or a chat, there's so many things on here. Again, the one thing that's not listed here is a new follow coming in. So if you want that one to work, you're you're going to have to install that follow listening extension as well, which is available and defaulted in there as well. So I'm not really going to do anything here for it. You know, I've done lots of channel point redemption type things on there, but that's how you would do another type of trigger, you know, is by adding it on there. Otherwise, it's just a button press for us. We're going to hit done. We're going to hit done again to update that. And now this is Stream Deck 6. That's why there's these numbers next to it. It's kind of important to know that, because when we're going to go into the Stream Deck itself, we need to be able to open that guy up and show around with it. You can also move between decks, and any sort of button that you press on one deck will work even if that deck isn't open. So if I have, you know, there's these arrows over here that he has defaulted to switch in between decks, for example. But if you have like a button over here, these decks are technically active in the background, even without necessarily being open on your Stream Deck, which is really kind of cool, because that means you can use multiple decks to kind of organize your stuff. You know, maybe you have one deck that's dedicated to all your sound effects, another one dedicated to your scene switching, for example. You know, however you want to do it. And you can actually resize these too, so you can get as big as you want and change the button sizes. So it's really, really, really user-friendly. Anyways, let's go ahead and open up our Stream Deck. This is pretty much how you would do it as well on the Android phone, as is basically by accessing that file and opening it up. I haven't used it on my phone in a while, but for the PC side of things, you're going to want to go to the LioranBoard Stream Deck PC, and then go ahead and hit that LioranBoard Stream Deck. It's loading, it's thinking, it's going to ask us a couple basic things. We have that listing port. I have it set to default. Your IP address should be your IP address of your local computer. So I honestly don't really remember mine off the top of my head. Let me go check real fast, and I'll be right back. Okay, that's what I thought it was on there. Everything's already inputted for me, so I just don't think about it anymore. 192.168.0.101. Believe. You can check on what's my IP, or go to your command line for it. Sometimes mine changes because I load different stuff at different time, and I need to do more fixed IP. But the thing about this too is, because you can manipulate more things on your network. Like if I have more than one computer, you need to identify which one is running it. So I can have my phone, for example, manipulate either computer basically if I really, really wanted to. And there's just different ways around it. So 168, okay, yeah, that's right. That's my current IP. And then that Stream Deck that we want to manipulate, which I think was 6. 6. Okay, so we're going to open up Stream Deck number 6. And we'll connect. We've got that one button that we had before. Let me kind of move this to the side. It's nice and sizable for us. I can manipulate this down. And so we have that test thing that we set to toggle. Let's see if it's actually connected. And it is connected. So we know it is connected through OBS WebSocket. We know that we have it connected to Twitch. So we actually are all set and good to go. Okay, a little bit of a pro tip here for us, because I use so much channel point redemptions. You can actually set up things to be triggered or potentially triggered all at the same time. I've created a really cool queue system, and it's easy and set up and use. That way, if you have multiple channel points coming in, nobody loses their channel points. It's set up in a queue, and they're not all firing off necessarily, or if you want, at the same time. So check that one out. I'm going to leave that video down the bottom as well. Super hot video. Definitely want to check that one out. And it's all easy to set up for you. So if you have a problem and you have lots of buttons getting fired off, I made this deck really for you all. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Anyways, that's how we set up the new version of LioranBoard. It's pretty much the same as before. There's lots of really cool functions in this one with the commands and how extensive it's gotten over the last year or so. Hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, and all that love. I'll see you glitches on the next one. Be safe.
Above. They're above. Nice.
Good shit.
Above. They're above. Nice.
Good shit.